going on, guys? This is yesterday, October 3rd's full workout. It was a squat and mostly incline press day with quite a bit of accessories and stuff. I've decided to start warming up with the assault bike. Normally, I would just kind of warm up with whatever movement I was going to work on that day. Moving forward, I think I'm going to spend 5 or 10 minutes on the assault bike and really just get things warm. I tried that out and it really seemed to help, and I tried it out again today and I really enjoyed it. So we might stick with that for a little bit and see how things turn out. Go ahead and feel free to watch as much as you want or skip as much as you want. Take care. And there we go, just finished up on the bike. Then we're going to go into the squats that we ended up working up to 430 4x4s. So as I work up, I just start out with the bar to warm up a little bit more, just get used to the positioning and just how the squat movement feels that day, you know, if anything's tight or anything like that. Anybody that's been listening along has probably seen that I've been working on a little bit of a shift towards my right side when I'm squatting. That's kind of a strength imbalance between my two legs, my left leg being significantly weaker than my right. Whenever I'm doing single leg work, I've begun to notice that. So been working on that. So just as I'm warming up, just trying to go real slow through the different movements. And then I'll, like I said, just start with the bar, then up to 1 plate, 2 plates, 3 plates, 4 plates, 5 plates, wherever you're going after that. Just to really emphasize each spot and each weight increase so that we're doing that safely and continuing to make progress. In my opinion, a huge thing that people tend to miss when squatting, especially as the weight starts going up, is I feel like if you're going to be successful with the higher weights, a lot of it comes down to your absolute starting position. Right when you first tuck into that bar, you know, it's making sure those shoulders are nice and tight, making sure you know where your foot position is going to be, the breaking of the hips, the dropping down into a seated position. All these things are so key to making sure that lift is going to be successful. Yeah, for me, it's just all about the starting position and just getting that right immediately from the get-go. If you don't, you're not going to feel comfortable. It's going to feel very awkward, and you, of course, always run that risk of being dumped over forward, where you have to get either escape or drop it off onto the safeties, or try and have to escape out the back, or however you're doing it. So, yeah, just get your starting position right, guys, and just you're going to find a lot more success, I think. Also been working on a lot of these more explosive movements, you know, like standing explosive jumps, kind of like speed reps with deadlifts, squats, pressing, anything like that, where, you know, kind of the eccentric not being as important, but the concentric coming up out of the hole with kind of as much power and velocity as you can really generate safely. Kind of just working on that explosive strength with like box jumps, anything like that. And I've kind of noticed a real power transfer where, you know, you start getting under those higher weights and they almost seem like they're a little bit less after you've been doing the speed work with some of the lighter stuff. So kind of get a little bit more of the fast twitch activation going and stuff, hopefully. So they say anyway. I'm no expert, but hopefully we'll see some progress with that. Here we go. See, as I got onto about 3 plates, I decided to throw on the supportive gear. Now, normally I probably would have waited till about 4 plates or slightly over, maybe about 425, somewhere in there, before I would bother with knee sleeves and belts. Like I've told you before, I kind of like to hold off on that stuff as much as possible to just, then when it's added later after the fact, you will certainly notice a lot more of a strength gain, and you'll really get the benefits from that. And it kind of lets your joints and ligaments and tendons and stuff toughen up and actually have to do the work on their own as opposed to relying on that gear. As I come into the higher end of the top sets, or what will become the working sets, I generally just drop down to singles because I don't want to kind of gas myself out on for the actual sets, I just want to kind of get used to the weight increases and just kind of feel how my body's doing that day and things like this. I generally will stick to single reps as opposed to, 3 or 5 or 8 or 10 or however many. I kind of just go from there. And here you'll kind of notice as I drop into the working sets, try as I might, I'm still shifting to that right side, which on the camera looks like the left, but that tattoo on my calf is actually my right calf. So I am still just slightly shifting over there. So I just got to continue and actually just really get serious about that single leg work and hip mobility. Just keep working on that, my flexibility, and make sure that that left side is totally opened up and that I'm not just favoring that right side from a mobility standpoint as well. So we'll see how things go. I was really pleased though, because over the last, what's it been now, about a week and a half maybe, my low back was really twingy and just didn't really feel right. Felt like there was a lot of pressure there under any kind of load, even if I was just walking around, as well as my right hamstring, which I found kind of very coincidental, because that's the side that I'm favoring during squats, so it would kind of make sense that hamstring had gotten really irritated. So we'll kind of see how things go forward, and we're just going to keep an eye on all of this and hopefully make some progress and get that squat evened out and maybe start hitting some real PRs. We'll see. Here's where I'll drop into the 320s, I believe it was, 3x3s that I had missed on my exercise the day before. Guy used the squat rack for everything. He set the bench up on it. He did his entire workout just on the squat rack, so I wasn't really able to get that squat movement in. I could have just done it freestanding with the barbell, but I really do like to have the safeties there, just especially with my low back kind of acting up. You never know if you're just going to get in a weird position, and it's just better to be on the safe side and just set that weight down. So, these were from the day before, and again, I kind of mentioned in the short, but if you miss something on one of your exercises, if you can, just sneak it in on the next workout. It's really not a big deal to miss, and even if you do miss it, don't let that just totally ruin your plan. Don't give up on a program or get discouraged just because something doesn't go as planned. Maybe you tweak something during a workout and you kind of go, oh shit, I gotta give up on bench today. My shoulder's acting up or something like that. That's totally fine. Just give up on bench, back down, get that shoulder feeling good again, and then just jump, slowly build back into exactly where you were, and you can get caught right back up. So yeah, anyway, these I did right after the 430 4x4, so it was even a little bit more challenging. And with my back, how it had been, it actually felt really good today, which was great. And I feel like getting that extra movement in there and that really good blood flow in there while still having my support on there to help my core bracing was actually really a good thing. And today and after this workout, it just started feeling much better. So I hope we continue on that trajectory. And same kind of deal over here as with the squats. I just like to warm up. Initially, I don't even think I taped it or anything, but I'll just warm up with just the bar for a while, just get the movement feeling good. Start throwing a plate on there. Throw even half plate on there, then go up to 2. Just really slowly get yourself into the movement. Don't just no matter what's programmed, don't just jump into your working weight sets. Let your body just really tell you how it's doing that day. You never know. Maybe you slept wrong. Maybe you're, a little more tired, and that weight's going to feel like a little too much when you just pick it up. So it's nice to just work into it slowly and, just kind of pyramid up with your sets. You start out with the bar, do 10, 12 reps, throw a plate on there, maybe do 8 or 10 or however many, depending on how strong you are, and then a little bit more, a little less reps. A little bit more, a little less reps till you work up to your working sets, and go from there. But yeah, with these incline presses always feel pretty good for me. I really like this movement and overhead pressing as opposed to benching. I've separated my AC. I've had a pinch C5, C6 before and stuff like this. So benching, I just it's not my favorite position to be in. I'll generally use benching for like accessory stuff, but as far as like my working sets and kind of one of my core movements, I'll usually keep it to an incline or a shoulder press. So yeah, those are just options that I prefer. So here I started supersetting with split squats and lat raises. If anybody wants to comment on my form on the split squats and give me any kind of tips at all, that would be totally fine, and I would appreciate it, as a matter of fact, because I almost never do single leg work. So just now I'm starting to incorporate that just to try to fix up this squat imbalance and probably correct a lot of other things in the process. I'm real curious about how much I've been shifting on deadlifts now and just other movements in general. And so yeah, any feedback on anything you see me doing is very much appreciated, and I thank you for your time on that.
feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can't and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. I'm inspired by thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. But something deep